We begin our final concert of the season with one of Mozart's best known and beloved works, Eine Kleine Nachtmusik, or A Little Night Music. And like with most of Mozart's works, it sounds so simple and completely belies the composer's sophistication. We actually don't know for sure why Mozart composed this music. Mozart actually rarely composed without a specific purpose or a commission, ideally. And there's no mention of this work in his letters or those of his contemporaries. And all we know is that he finished it when he was 31 years old in Vienna. The same year he wrote his opera Don Giovanni. And maybe it was one of several works written for a friend of his, Gottfried von Jacquin in Vienna. And Jacquin's sister, Franziska, was a pupil of Mozart, and together they met as a group at the home of Jacquin for, as they called it, discussions, games, and merrymaking. So Mozart wrote actually several works for the Jacquin household, and A Little Night Music may well have been one. And maybe it's an example of party music. Who knows? In any case, it is great music. It is lots of fun to play and to listen to. And then in the second half, we will end our season with a bang, with one of the greatest symphonies of the 20th century, Gustav Mahler's Symphony No. 5. Mahler was an incredibly busy conductor, and the only time he had to compose was during his summer breaks. And just like Brahms, Mahler usually spent his summers someplace in the Austrian mountains, or in some mountains, maybe in northern Italy. He actually built a house in Majornic on the Lake Wörthersee in Austria and composed there in a kind of a special hut, away from the house and away from everything, his composing hut. He needed solitude, and like Beethoven and Tchaikovsky, Mahler took long walks. At the time, Mahler studied polyphonic motets by Bach and songs by Schumann, and both of these influences we can hear in his Fifth Symphony. Mahler became really obsessed with polyphony after studying Bach, and we can hear that in the third and fifth movement of his symphony. And his study of songs by Schumann may well have inspired the famous fourth movement, the Adagio, which we all know from the Visconti movie Death in Venice. We can hear the influence of Anton Bruckner, the big chorale at the end of the second movement or the end of the fifth movement. The sounds of Vienna play a big role in his music, especially the music by Johann Strauss, the waltzes, the lightness, the dance. And very important was, as inspiration for Mahler, was in military music. In his childhood, Mahler spent 15 years in Iglau, and there he and his parents and siblings lived only a few steps away from the main square of the town, where he was able to watch the performances of the military band. And those military sounds that he heard there really was so important for his music. His music is infused with marching band rhythms of all sorts. And all of these things you can hear in Mahler's music, and a lot more. The emotional range of this symphony is incredible. From most tender to violent outbursts. There's frivolous happiness, tender intimacy. There's mourning, wailing, threatening sounds, defiance. And often there are very sudden, almost jarring changes without warning. The emotions seem to be sometimes in disarray, chaotic, or neurotic, if you want. At the end, it's a symphony that is a journey from darkness to light. It opens with a gigantic funeral march and ends in the finale with music that's full of joy, maybe an experience of redemption, of triumph and victory. It's a fantastic symphony that reflects on the struggle of the individual, of Mahler himself, and the struggle for happiness, love, and humanism in general.